Hey folks, David Stewart here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. Welcome to the show, the Wednesday show, NewPub Talk. Today we're going to do a little gear stream. That's what I had planned to do. What does that mean? That just means I am going to, because it's still, there's like a big Amazon sale. They have like a Prime Day sale. I'm going to go through. It's an opportunity for people to like buy stuff they need. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I think might be a good opportunity to buy right now if you wanted to have gear for like recording videos or doing music or whatever it is, right? You know, I have a lot of guitars. I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And I have a couple of, I guess, philosophical things about like buying gear, which is that I prefer to not buy like tons of stuff. I prefer to buy good things that are going to last a while. Like right here, I'm using a webcam, which I actually don't recommend. It's a Razer Kiyo Pro. And the reason I don't recommend it is that it actually crashes my computer and sometimes doesn't work, right? It's just not good. Now, the image quality is okay, but it's not like a reliable webcam. So I replaced my Logitech C920, which I used for like, I don't know, 7 years or something, like pretty much daily. And it finally started causing the program to crash, and it was cutting in and out and stuff. So it's all right. Sometimes little things break on it. Might have been, some connections broken inside. But I got a really good use out of that. They still make that camera, so it's like that's probably a better buy than the Razer Kiyo, even though the Kiyo has better image quality and stuff. I'm still looking for a new webcam to replace this one that isn't super expensive and isn't like, let me set up a DSLR and do the DSLR thing that some people do. I kind of like purpose-built stuff. So I thought it might be fun to look at a couple things. I was talking to some people on the Discord about it, and just made me think, hey, people are usually looking for like, hey, what kind of microphone should I get? And I do have some recommendations. People, if you want to know what I use, in fact, I might do this I think I wrote it as an article, but I never published it. It's just a list of like every piece of gear that I use for like everything, which is a really extensive list because I have accumulated a lot of equipment and hardware over the years. But it's just a list of that stuff. So it's like, well, what do you use? It's what I use and why I use it, Zimamaru says he's in the middle of a hurricane. Other than that, I'm doing good. Yeah. So the hurricane may be making landfall. We'll have a hurricane stream. 2. Hurricane Milton Friedman back from the dead. Play much Baldur's Gate 3 after release? Not really. I streamed it, and then when we moved on to other things, I just didn't play it anymore. I thought it was a good game. I enjoyed it, but I just didn't really care about playing more than I played. Maybe I'll take it back up again. Part of the problem is that, I have glass doors behind me, because that's what's kind of necessary for me occupying this half of my office. The other half is my wife's. So we have the room kind of split. And in order to do that, I'm either like on this wall, kind of facing backwards, which is weird. That worked. I did it for a while. But this gives me like a lot more kind of stuff. It makes it a little easier. It's a better situation to like do this. I could do it the other way, like put the keyboard over here or something, it could be done several ways. But because of that, like, I can't play mature games except in the middle of the night. And so it's just a time preference thing. I've been preferring to play Final Fantasy XIV more than Baldur's Gate 3. It's a good game, though. I think it's good. So if you can get it on sale or whatever, it's probably good. My city's targeted for a direct hit, so here's something. I got a direct hit from Hurricane Beryl. The second storm of the season. And it knocked out my power for 10 days. So we were without power for 10 days. Luckily, I have a backup generator, so I ran that. I don't have a whole house one, so that's something that I'm looking to buy, because it's just annoying to like I got to go get propane for it or find gas. The problem was my generator, like the carb went bad on it, which means that it wasn't wanting to run on gasoline, but it would run fine on propane. So going and getting propane became the annoying thing. And we were like one of the last places to get power. So you have to drive and go find propane, kind of a pain in the butt. I'm like, let's fix that. Let's run it off natural gas. You can actually get portable generators that will run off natural gas, by the way. So the way that I would recommend somebody set up a generator, here's what most people do. They buy a generator and then they're like, what can I plug into the generator? And they run extension cords and crap everywhere. I had to do that because I actually had a second generator. This is so dumb, but like I bought one when I lived in California to run my air conditioning because PG&E would just turn off the power randomly in California. They'd be like, it's hot, no air conditioning for anyone. Kind of scary, right? So I bought that for that occasion. That one does run well on gas. So, but it's not as big. I have like a 12,000 watt. This one was like, 4,000 or something. Enough to run refrigerators and a couple of portable ACs and stuff, but not the whole house. Right, so my big one, I can run pretty much everything in the house besides the main AC, but I have portable ACs. I have window units. Just put in the window unit and run that. So what I would recommend you do, now this is not going to work for people who are in Florida like right now, obviously, but anyone who's in the future thinking about disaster preparedness, whether that's in California and you're worried about earthquakes, or you're in somewhere cold and you're worried about losing power where it's cold, or you are especially in a hurricane zone anywhere from East Texas all the way over to Florida and up to Virginia and Maryland. So get a generator inlet box installed by an electrician. Now, I had an electrician do this. They did it wrong, but it was like Christmas, so I paid him anyway, kind of out of charity because I just didn't want to make him redo it. Get a generator inlet box, and then you get a cable to connect your generator directly to your main panel. So it'll energize the rails of your main panel. That's the point. You also will probably need an interlock kit unless you really know what you're doing. Most people don't know what they're doing, so an electrician should install an interlock kit that ensures that you cannot feed power into your panel from your generator while the power is connected to the lines. Because what you don't want to do is backfeed electricity through power lines, because there could be someone working on it. That means that you've energized the lines, so you don't want to do that. But anyway, you turn off your mains, and then you can feed power into your panel. That's what I do. So I run the generator through an inlet box, powers up my panel, and then I can use everything in my house. Really, really useful. Now, there's limits, right? Like if you wanted to run an electric dryer and an oven, it's not going to work. But I could run the oven. I could run several window ACs with no problem. Anything under 50 amps, right? If you get a whole house one, you can do 100 amps, no problem. And that'll run, you're still at limits with a whole house generator. You're not unlimited unless you're going like a 200 amp, like a 30,000 watt system, which most people are not going to get. So I think that would do like 150 amps. But anyway, most people do like 20 to 25,000 watts. And if I get one, I'll probably get like a 26,000, 28,000 watt one. But there's limits with those. Like if you have an electric dryer, you probably can't run that in an air conditioner. You're going to hit the limit. The electric dryers run a lot of amperage. Electric clothes dryers. Same thing with ovens. Ovens will hit 50 amps sometimes, right? They're pretty intensive electric ovens. Efficient, but intensive. So just keep that in mind. So that's what you do with your generator. And then what you do is you want to get a tri-fuel generator. There's probably some on sale on Amazon right now. We can look them up. Tri-fuel generator will run natural gas. It'll run propane. It'll run gasoline. So any fuel that you have available, it'll run that. Okay. Mine is a dual fuel. It runs propane and gas. The propane is better if you're going to keep fuel around because propane never goes bad. Your gas will go bad. You have to manage like putting the gas in your car and refilling your things. Cool part about gas is that you can siphon gas out of your gas tank if you need more gasoline. You can just siphon the fuel out. So I have a fuel siphon in my emergency box and my like bug out box in the garage. So you can get fuel out if you need to get fuel out, which is really useful. But if you get a tri-fuel, what you do is you have a plumber run a gas line to wherever you're going to hook up your generator, and then you run that off natural gas. If natural gas lines are not working, like, it's pretty bad. So most of the time your natural gas is going to be fine, and you run that off your natural gas, and you just have to stop every 40 hours or something and change the oil in your generator. So I ran mine for like, I don't remember how long before I changed the oil. It's like 40 or 50 hours. You can run it for a long time most of the time. I think they recommend maybe 20 hours. I'm not sure. But anyway, maybe it's 100 hours. I ran it for like a whole week before I changed the oil. And the oil wasn't even like dirty really when I changed it, because I ran it on propane. So if you run it on propane or natural gas, it doesn't foul up the oil as much either. If you're running it on gasoline, you end up fouling the oil a lot more quickly. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. Run off natural gas, it burns really clean. Propane's like the cleanest fuel that you can run. Gasoline's going to be full of shit, so it's gonna foul up your carburetor big time, and then make your oil have to be changed a lot more quickly. So anyway, that's my recommendation for generators. We could probably just look some up. I might have the one that I have as a tri-fuel generator. It's really loud, but it works really well. So I could probably recommend it to people. Let me check out the chat real quick here. What I've been hearing about the Hurricane Helene damage is true. It's way worse than even Katrina. Yeah, part of Hurricane Helene is that it's hitting a place that's not known for getting hurricanes that are intense, and it's dropped a ton of rain, like several feet of rain in an area that doesn't ever get that. So none of the infrastructure is built to withstand that, and the natural waterways are not built to handle that as well. So rivers very quickly overspill their bounds. This was an issue with was it Katrina? I'm trying to remember. No, it was the one that hit Houston. Harvey. With Harvey, there was 4 feet of rain. 4 feet of rain. So all the waterways were completely full. My neighborhood here, I didn't live here at the time, but a lot of the houses flooded that were close to the river here, because even though that river is like 30 feet deep, 4 feet of rain upstream, it overspilled its bounds, and it was like a lake, So it was the rain. There's wind damage, but it's the rain, right? So you're talking about like 1,000-year flood event is what happened in North Carolina. Really crazy. And not something that anybody there would be normally prepared for. They might be normally prepared for the flooding that usually happens, for the wind damage that usually happens with big storms. Not for houses that have never flooded before, ever, right? And there were places that flooded that have never had floods. You can't prepare for those kinds of events. You could prepare for a very bad event, but you can't say, oh, well, obviously my house up here in this mountain is going to flood. And then it did, it's really bad. So, the current conspiracy theory is cloud seeding, just so you guys are aware of it. Conspiracy theory. The idea that there's, cloud seeding exists. It's real. People do it. Governments do it. Why would they cloud seed a hurricane? Well, to damage people in the South who are the political enemies of the current regime. I'm not saying that's what happened, but we certainly have seen some incredible intensifying from Milton. It intensified as fast as any storm that I've ever seen. Went from a Category 1 to Category 5 like in a day. As someone who played Baldur's Gate 3 multiple times, there isn't anything too bad as far as mature content kids could actually see by mistake. You've got to go out of your way to get it. Yeah, but I don't trust it. That's all, right? Why am I not surprised at California? I'm in the area of Florida that has the evac zone because we're 75 feet above sea level. Yeah, that could be like a big storm. I heard there's a big storm surge, like 15 foot. How high is the water? 5 feet high and rising. I lived in North Carolina for 4 years. Yeah, I've never lived there, but I have some friends in northern Georgia, and they were okay. Luckily. Yeah. Yeah, insurance for it ought to be cheap if it's never supposed to happen. Yeah, that's if people have flood insurance. And so one of the problems with flood insurance, right? Like, I've always had flood insurance. Flood insurance is basically done through the government. Because it just is, right? I technically lived below a dam in my last house. But for us to have experienced flooding, the dam would have to burst. There's never enough rain in Central California for flooding to occur. Then we left, and then there was like massive storm damage from flooding in places because they got a really unexpected amount of rain. And that happens. So insurance is weird. Like, insurance is weird about that stuff. We had a major wind event this year that destroyed like half my house. And it was very expensive and annoying to repair. But and we have a big deductible, right? Insurance doesn't pay all of it, right? We had I don't even know how much damage, but our deductible is like either $12,000 or $16,000, and we had a lot more than that as far as damage, right? When you have a foot and a half of rain and you don't have a roof, right? Dubai did it and messed up. Yeah, we saw the Dubai malls full of water from. What do they put in it? There's something they put in it. I'm trying to remember what chemical. It's basically a very fine dust, and it causes more water droplets to stick together and form the rain that falls out of the cloud. So for rain to form, you have to have some kind of particulate matter for the water droplets to stick to. So it adds more of those in there, kind of aerosoled into the cloud. So you get a lot more droplets stick together, and then they freeze and turn into rain, you know? You can't really run across a porn scene. Like, you have to select, I want to bang multiple times to actually get the scene. It's not something you don't see coming a mile away. Yeah, I'm not going to play that with my kids around with all the blood and stuff. And it's very 5th edition D&D, which to me is kind of woke and cringy, but it's okay. It's a good game. I don't think it's a bad game at all. If you like this piece, this is my, I did a doom metal piece the other day. I'll go ahead and link it. You know, like, I played Diablo 4, and I could only really do that when my son would come in and he'd be like, "Whoa, there's blood everywhere." It's like, yeah, it's a little cartoony though. But I just I want to have control over what my kids have input on, because context matters. Like, so there's a foreign language learning app called Duolingo that I've used and I still use for instruction, but I have to kind of pre-screen all the lessons because it's actually full of gay propaganda, right? Knowing that kids are going to use this app and their parents are going to be happy that they're doing a foreign language app. They fill it full of little stories and stuff about gay couples doing stuff and about people being gay, right? It's full of gay propaganda, absolutely packed. So that annoys me. Like, I don't want to have to stop for a 7-year-old, because that's the learning level, right? I don't want to have to stop and be like, okay, let me explain this. It's like, we have a gay couple that lives next door. I don't like having to explain this stuff to little kids who barely understand what heterosexual sex is. Do you know what I mean? Liberal parents want to indoctrinate their kids to not be bigots or something, but there's trying to explain sexuality to a young child and for them to understand that and for them to think that, you know what I mean, right? It's just not age appropriate. They don't understand the purpose of sex and its entire context as a young child. Later they get the full understanding of that. I want them to have that full understanding before we talk about sodomy or something, before I have to inoculate them with actual knowledge of what is going on, right? They're just young. They shouldn't have to be thinking about that kind of stuff all the time. You know, that's my thoughts. And my dad didn't let me play certain kinds of PC games until I hit high school, and even then he'd play through it first. Yeah, that's a good dad. And I think about that with my kids too. I want to be careful about them playing certain games. I usually screen games and my son's really good about it. He's like, I don't think I'm supposed to watch this. This is a mature rated show or mature game. I really want to, he's like, man, I really want to play like, this, but it's mature. I'm like, it is mature and there's reasons for it. But when you're older, you could probably have fun playing it, That's good. Anyway, let's talk about gear. So, on the Discord, I talked briefly about gear. So let's look at some stuff that's for sale. I'll have a little gear stream. Talk about gear and equipment and fun stuff. Let's talk about generators. Let's see if there's any. I bet you there's some generators on sale. I'll tell you which generators I have. Do I have like a... Can I frame this in so it doesn't show my address? Yeah, maybe. Let's see if I can cut my address out of the frame. Okay, I'm not seeing an address now. Okay. All right. I have a Blink doorbell in my cart. Okay, yeah, check this out. There's a big button you could press that just does like the Prime Day deals. For generators, they have solar generators. Let's see if I could find like a tri-fuel one that is similar to mine. A bunch of solar generators, which is kind of cool. The thing is, in an emergency, especially like with a storm, you don't want to rely on solar. Like, you can supplement with solar. This is really expensive too. You don't want to rely on solar because it's cloudy. And let's see if there's a tri-fuel. I don't think they have any. So just I have this. This is the one I have. Is this Duramax, but mine's a dual fuel. I paid nowhere near this. I paid less than a grand for it. So, but we have inflation, so things are more expensive. Mine actually might be the 12,000. I think I have the 12,000. So it's a little bit. This one's 13,000 watts. Mine is 12,000. But when you run it on natural gas, it's closer to 10,000 watts. Yeah, there's none for sale. But I recommend a tri-fuel. Then you can hook it up to your natural gas, and that's going to be your best way to run the air conditioner. This is the problem too with hurricane season, like especially here in Houston, is like the hurricane comes in, drops a bunch of rain, and so that's nice for a day. Then it goes back to like 90-degree weather with high humidity. So having you could survive that. People have done it without air conditioning, but it's way more comfortable if you can have an air conditioner in your house to dry it out and to cool it off a little bit. As long as you keep your house kind of buttoned up, you can keep it drier inside, which will keep it tolerable. And if you can run a fan, that's helpful. But like what we did is we had a window unit AC. Let's see if they have one, like a window AC. They might have a window AC for sale. That's like decent. Amazon Basics window AC. You just get one of these and put it in the window, plug it in, and run it on your generator. And then like I would have one in my master bedroom, which is a really big room, and my kids and I could hang out in there and watch movies. It was good. Here's a Frigidaire GE. I don't think you have. I have this. I have one of these. I have a Hisense. It's smaller. It's okay. I bought it at Costco. It was fine. The problem was I bought a second one and it came missing a bunch of stuff. So I had to call them and they had to send me, like, it didn't come with the bracket to, mount it on the window and stuff. Yeah. At least retro games rarely have anything you wouldn't already know, yeah. When I was a kid, I understood sex so little that when adults would use sleep with interchangeably with sex, I just thought two adults had sex automatically when they were in a bed together. Yeah. So, yeah. those generators were expensive. I know some businesses around here definitely made a lot of money. So this one's probably fine. 4 stars. I would probably get like a GE, the Frigidaire. None of these are on sale though, so they're not going to be the best. This one's black. That's nice. Instead of white. Here, this is the one I have, I think. Is this what I have? This is what I have. I have 2 of these, I think. It looks like the one I have. Mine might be slightly smaller. So it might be like the 5,000 BTU one, 6,000 BTU one. It's fine. Runs great. Runs like a champ. What I do, like outside of storm season, is I have one of these in my garage, in my little home gym area. So when you go out there to like get on the bike or the treadmill or lift weights, I have it, and it has like, you know, these little movable vents, and you can kind of point it different directions. So it'll cool off that area that you're running it in, and you can even run it for about 20 minutes ahead of time and get out there, and it'll dry it out. And I have my whole garage is insulated. I insulated my entire garage, which is a big garage, and my workshop that's in it, and like the doors have insulation. Everything is insulation now, which is makes it so much better. It's so much better to go out in your garage and not have it be 100 degrees. During the summer, have it be like 85 maybe, you know, and then you run the AC and it just feels good. So it's totally tolerable for me to like go work out in my garage right now. So it's great. So yeah, that's what I have, and it works great. I have 2. I have one in my like utility room because it just doesn't have good circulation, and my cats hang out in there. And that's just to kind of add to the cooling of the house during really hot summer months. Don't run it all the time. And then I have one in my gym that I just run when it gets when I want to work out. And if the power's out, then I go and plug those into the window and use them, and they work great. Prices hurt my soul. All right, what else? What's another thing? Oh, microphones, right? So we're gonna look at. So this is a USB mic. I realized I recorded a video called "The Most Underrated Microphone Ever," and it's the Blue Yeti. Because most people who think it's a bad microphone don't know that much about microphones and don't know how to use them. Like, there's a lot of people who buy it and then they just don't know, or they like talk into it like this. They don't know how to use a condenser microphone, so they're just using it wrong, and it sounds bad. But it's actually a really useful microphone. I've recorded a bunch of videos with a Blue Yeti. Anything that's like a mobile video where I am maybe in a classroom or I'm like out on a patio and I'm talking, a lot of times I'm using a Blue Yeti. It's a USB class compliant device. So $90. This is the exact one I have. This is an okay price. You can sometimes find them cheaper on Woot. I think this color is really, really pretty. I think the black one's even cheaper. $77.90, $78. So it's a really good mic to get you started with content creation. I have recorded guitars with this mic, and people have said, wow, that's an amazing guitar sound. You don't need a $5,000 microphone to record your instrument. You just don't. It's for most people, they're not going to be able to tell the difference. If you know how to place the mic and it's a decent condenser microphone, it'll do the job. So I've recorded guitar stuff with this. It has multiple capsules, so you can get an omnidirectional mic to record a whole room if you want to record a room for like reverb stuff and run it in for, it's a good room mic. It's a good room mic for like if you're recording drums and you just want the sound of the room, boom. That will actually really work well because you're not mixing that really high. So the fact that it's not the best omnidirectional mic doesn't really matter that much because you're keeping it lower in the mix. For the cardioid pattern, which is what you're going to use for speech, and for most instrumental recording, you have to know how to mic your instrument, which that's a whole different discussion. But that's the main one you're going to use. It sounds fine. It sounds good. And it's probably a good deal for what you get. USB class compliant. It'll work with your phone. So I plugged them into my phones. I've been plugging them into my phones since 2016. And they work great. You could plug it into a Chromebook and it'll work. You can use it with Soundtrap, like a browser-based DAW. It works fine. So it works on every operating system, so it's great. Because if you're looking to get started, it's a really good choice. There's other ones too. We can just type in like Blue. Let's see if they have any other mics. No. I want Blue microphones. You're not going to find a Blue bottle. If you can find a good deal on a Blue bottle, those mics are awesome. Most people don't have any idea what a Blue bottle is. Let me see if they have one on Reverb. And I'll talk about this mic. This mic was so killer back in the day. Here's Reverb. You can buy my guitar, because I was looking up prices for it. You can buy my guitar right here. I recommend that guitar. It's good. This Gretsch looks pretty sweet. Here's a Roland with a Godin for $1,800. That's a $2,000 Godin, the XDSA. It's pretty good. Anyway, what are we gonna look at? Blue bottle. See if anyone's got one, or we can look at a past listing and you have an idea. Yeah, $2,500, $5,000. Baby bottle. Don't get confused. This is what a Blue bottle looks like, friends. It's a beast. This thing is mammoth, and it has exchangeable capsules, so it's actually a deal. So rather than buying like 8 $5,000 mics, you buy this one and you just buy the capsules that go with it. And this one already has 2 capsules, so that's pretty good for $2,800. It has an external power supply, mandatory. It's tube driven. These Blue, look at this thing, dude. This thing's awesome. If somebody has one of these, oh yeah, look at this. This one's got everything. Yeah. If I had an extra $4,500, this would be an investment I would actually make for like my recording studio, because you get so many different mic flavors, and it's just so well made. You could keep it forever, you know, and you could sell it for just as much as you bought it for whenever you want to sell it. If you could find someone that, again, wants a $4,500 mic. But Blue got sold. Here, you can get a pink one. Here's a pink Yeti. Here's the pink one. It's beautiful. I'll be looking to get a mic in a few days, thanks to some generous people via Payday. Awesome. Was going to get one of those. I forgot what I bought instead. Still never used the stuff. Was going to do voice work, but moved and priority shifted. PayPal, that is, plus my payday will be near normal because of the emergency hurricane hours we got. Oh, that's cool. What has been the best price range for your guitars? Best price range? That is an awesome question. If we're talking new guitars, $1,000 is usually where, for electric guitars, where I'm confident that a new guitar is going to be good. You're in American Fender range. This one was not even $1,000 and it was good. That's actually Mexican. That's a Mexican Fender. It's not American. Rather, you know, that's going to be, I'm confident that's going to be a good guitar. $500 will get you an absolutely killer guitar if you're willing to buy Indonesian-made guitars, Korean-made guitars. $500, that's an excellent price point for a brand new guitar that will have probably all the features that you want and really good pickups already in it. If you're spending less than $500, you are in the beginner guitar range. So beginner guitars, it's just, they're going to work and they're going to be cheap. Squire or whatever, $200 guitar, that's a really good price. $500 is when you start to get good guitars that are actually, you could perform on a professional level with them for electric guitars. Let's see here. The Blue Blackout Spark. I don't know if I would recommend this one. The Baby Bottle has a good sound. Now, if you buy this, you have to get an interface to use it. So I'll look up interfaces in a second. I'm just kind of seeing what they have. The Blue Yeti, that's just a really good USB mic. By really good, I mean it's very reliable. You know how it's going to sound. It's easy to use. It's class compliant. No extra software. You don't have to have any extra software to use it. It just works out of the box. It's great. I personally do not recommend people ever buy these off brands, these weird, Fifine. What is Fifine? It might be made in the same factory. It might be like the factory brand for the same place that makes the blue microphones, but we don't know. Here's a Bluebird, the Bluebird, and the Baby Bottle. Both of these are good. I like the sound of a Baby Bottle is actually pretty good. $40 for this is probably pretty good. This is again, you would need an interface for this. The Yeti X, I don't know anything about, never used it, but I've used these before and they sound good. $40 is cheap enough that I would even consider buying it just to kind of add to my arsenal of microphones as another color. Or, one of these other ones. These Snowballs sound fine. They're a really good entry-level microphone for whatever you need to do if you're just recording this kind of stuff. You're going to hear all that kind of stuff because it doesn't have a shock mount. Same thing with the Blue Yeti. But this one comes with a shock mount. That's kind of cool, I think. For $70. This might be a really good one. Is this a USB one? This is a USB microphone. Okay. This might be a good one. I don't think this is USB. I think they're wrong. I think they're very wrong. I think you need a... I'm pretty certain you need a interface to use this. I've had a Blue Yeti since about 2015. Old, reliable for work or quick demos. Yeah, sounds fine. Like I said, most of the people who think it's bad don't know how to use it, or they're listening to people use it who don't know how to use the mic. So general recommendations for mics, like a lot of people want to talk very close on their mic. That doesn't sound natural, but you can do it if you want. 8 to 12 inches from the face is going to have a more natural sound. And so if you have a Blue Yeti, put it on your desk 8 to 12 inches away from your face. Put 2 hand lengths. Any further away than about 2 hand lengths and you start to get a more distant sound. Anything closer than 1, like if you do this, anything that's like closer than that starts to sound like a close mic. More spam calls. You get these election calls. You guys getting those yet? That's a really good price for this. I mean, I would consider buying either of those to kind of add to my arsenal. Let's see what other microphones we have. Let's just do microphones and see if there's any like AKGs or anything for sale. This Pile microphone, you can see I purchased it. I have one. I used it in my classroom in 2017 and it was great. Great microphone. $20. It sounds exactly like an SM58. Not exactly. Very, very close to an SM58. Probably made in the same place. So it's an SM58 for $20. And you won't feel bad about handing it to a kid and the kid drops it. It's a tank. I've had kids like drop it onto concrete and it's fine. I have no problems like handing that microphone to my children and being like, yeah, sing, Aurelia, sing. NPR voice. NPR voice would be like this because all the guys at NPR had their testosterone tested and they all had the test of a castrated male. Their testosterone was as much as a castrated male. I was like, oh, that explains all their political beliefs. And I watched a great video from Noam Chomsky where he's like, NPR is the most. It's It's not only is it far left, but it has the least. You have the least ability to deviate from their ideological center compared to commercial stations. He's like, I could get on Fox News. Like, Fox News might let me say things. I can't even say things I'm too far to the right to say things on NPR. So people don't realize that the government radio stuff, NPR, is like communist. They are far left, and you can't have any deviations from that. Here's an SM58 for $100. Dude, I used to pay $150 for SM58s 20 years ago. Like, these are actually really good prices. Here's one with a cable. Well, here's some Behringer 3-pack. It's cool. Good old SM57. I got a bunch of these. These are good. SM57 is really good for micing up your guitar cab, drums. You can even use it to mic up a saxophone or something like that. If you're going to want to do violin, I would recommend like a different microphone. It's just too hard to position it correctly. I feel like you want a condenser mic for violin or for guitar, like acoustic guitar. It's not like I use it for acoustic guitar for live stuff, but it's not ideal. I just got a brand new Fender Jazz Bass Player Series for $7.99, made in Mexico, and plays and sounds incredible. Yeah, they were great. The Player Series are great. This is a Player Pro Plus or something. It's a really good guitar. I'll show it to you. I just set it up in Drop C. So beautiful. I had to get the matching strap, the Bel Air blue strap. Beautiful finish. Non-boring finish. It comes with a 2-point tremolo, like an American, my American Strat. I don't know. I like the 2-point better than the 6-screw. It's smoother. It moves easier, which is what I like. It has 2 humbuckers, and then there's this little coil split. You have a button here, you press it, and it splits the coils, which gives you, 6 really solid tones to work with. And then, of course, separate tone controls for the bridge and the neck. They called these pickups Fender Fireball pickups. They sound like a PAF, so they sound like a Gibson pickup, which is ideal for what I was doing with this, and I probably wouldn't change them. If I was going to be doing more, like I don't know, like high output metal stuff, I might put DiMarzios in, because I put DiMarzios in everything, but they're fine. You can always, if you just feel like they're not high enough output, turn up the gain on your amp, is an option. Yeah. This is a Pau Ferro fingerboard, otherwise known as like Bolivian rosewood. I think it has a more interesting grain than regular rosewood, but it came dry as a bone. So when I finally took the strings off, I put oil on it, and it was like, oil's gone. It just soaked up the oil, and it darkened it up so much, putting a little oil on this thing. Cool little mother of pearl inlays, which are very nice and subtle. Great neck, satin neck. Locking tuners. I put locking tuners on anything that has a tremolo. It does help with tuning stability. It has a bone nut, really good components on everything. Really, really happy with it. It's one of my favorite guitars right now. The only thing I would add to this, if I was gonna trick out this, guitar anymore, besides putting in really nice pickups, like the pickups I really like to use, put in like an Aaron Norton and an Evolution. Let's get it hot. Get this sucker hot. I'd put a Fishman Power Bridge, or do Fishman Fluence pickups. Why not? I put in a Fishman Power Bridge, and then have this be the blend control for it. Fishman Power Bridge. It's basically Larry Fishman's design for the Parker Fly, kind of brought into regular bridges. So if you are playing a Music Man that has the piezo, it's a piezo pickup, so it sounds like an acoustic guitar. Then all of a sudden you have all of these different tonal options you could play around with, or you can just get straight up. You could use a stereo output splitter, and you can go to a different, go to the PA with the acoustic sound if you want. There's tons of stuff you can get them. They just drop in as far as this, and then you could put the electronics in here. And there's enough room. So that's the only trick out thing I would probably really want to do, is put in that Fishman Power Bridge. And so that's kind of a dream of mine. My dream guitar is actually my current Strat with all of its EMGs with a Fishman Power Bridge somehow. I don't know how I'd fit the 4th knob in there, but that's what it would be. That would be like my dream guitar. Just every possible beautiful tone you can get on an electric guitar for cleans, for all the clean stuff that I do with the ambient guitar things. That's what I would really love to, and then have that option of that acoustic sound blended in there. That's why I love the Parker Fly, is I can get that sound in there. And the same thing with my Music Man. It has a Fishman Power Bridge basically in it, and it works. It's phenomenal. Sound Engraver says, my husband just bought me a ribbon microphone for our anniversary. I can't wait to try it. Yeah, I love ribbon mics. I think they're really cool. My wife sent me something, but I can't look at it right now. So yeah, that has been a really awesome guitar. Used it for a couple months now. I've set it up in drop C, and dude, this thing rocks. Tuning stability is great. I did have to do some setup on it when I got it. It had a little too much relief, so I had to straighten the neck out a little bit and do a little bit of action work on the bridge to get it kind of just right. But it came playable. It came playable from the factory, and so no dings, no scratches, no flaws on it whatsoever, other than it needed a little setup work. But every new guitar I've ever gotten, like fresh off the store, take it down, play it, buy it, I still have to do a setup on it because I use different strings than what it comes with, or it just the atmosphere changes your instrument. Any wood instrument, that's going to happen. It's going to happen with any guitar, whether it's acoustic or electric. The guitar changes its dimensions a little bit as it ages, as it dries out, as it goes from where the factory is. Like, these are made, I think in Ensenada, fairly dry, and we're going up to Houston, which is fairly wet, change of atmospheric conditions. Same thing if I got my American ones made in Southern California, and then which are really dry, and then you're going to the Southeast, which is really wet. So you're going to get, the guitar's going to just change with that, right? My acoustic guitars have all changed a little bit when they came here. They're really dry weather guitars, but yeah, they work fine here. I know guys that live in like Arizona and New Mexico, and they get guitars that are made there so that they don't have to humidify them and stuff like that. The guitar's not going to change from when you make it. I have a Behringer Bigfoot microphone. It's essentially a cheaper clone of the Blue Yeti. So that's one that you can get there too, right? You can probably get a Behringer. Behringer makes really good stuff, actually. I've used Behringer for all kinds of things. Behringer's market is really like what Hardwick says. It's a clone of the Blue Yeti. They take what another company does and then they just do that cheaper. So that's a really good way to get budget stuff. Their pedals are actually really good for their price. Are they as good as Boss pedals? Absolutely not. Boss pedals are freaking tanks. They will stand up to a beating. You could take them on the road and smash them with a car and they still work. Like, no, they're not as good as Boss pedals. But sound-wise, they're close enough that you can get a good sound out of them. Let me see about any other microphones. I'm just going to type in AKG. Let's see if some of my favorite brands have anything up. No AKG stuff. Oh, you got some AKG earbuds. Here, let me show you guys what's up. I have these earbuds. They come with Samsung phones. They're okay. I have these, the K240s. I have the old ones made in Germany. They're way better, but these ones are still pretty good. If you can get them for $50, that's a good price. $80 feels a little too... It's cool that it has a case, but like this feels a little too much for me. We have some Sennheiser stuff. Yeah, this is $60. $60 for these is a really good price, in my opinion. I kind of want to just get another pair so I have them. I wore mine out. Like the headband, like they're worn out. They still sound good, but all the stuff's worn out. I've gone through 2 or 3 cables on them. You know. I think the men who got their testosterone tested were the Try guys from BuzzFeed, not NPR. I thought it was NPR. Maybe you're right though. Yeah, I love this body shape. It's really cool. It's a little weird to try to hold it first because it goes so kind of aggressively down. To hold it in a classical position. If I'm sitting far back in a chair, it hits the chair. So that's a little weird because I tend to want to play like this, but it's not a huge adjustment because I'm usually not playing low. I'm playing pretty high up, like a classical guitar player. Yeah. Let's see what we've got. Oh, interfaces. If you get a good mic, you're going to need an interface. Let's go. USB interface. All right. Let's hit, see if there's any Prime deals. I've had a lot of interfaces over the years. Let's skip the sponsored ones. Okay. Focusrite Solo 4th Gen. I am comfortable recommending this even though I don't have a 4th gen. I have a 2nd gen that I have been using for 9 years. The power supply went bad on it. And I realize that a lot of people think that their interface goes out and it may just be the power supply. I bought a new power supply. Works great. All the stuff you're hearing was recorded into that same Focusrite interface I've had for years. So this is probably a really good one. The only thing here, let's take a look, is I don't think it has an XLR input. I think if you're just wanting to plug your guitar in, if you're just looking for a way to plug in your guitar. No, it has... No, it doesn't. Doesn't. There's no XLR. What's input 2? Where's the second input? I think there's an XLR on the back. This is so funny that she's got a Telecaster with the ashtray cover on it. I think they just like got this model and like handed her a guitar, like factory guitar. Nobody plays with that thing on their Telecaster. No, I've never met a single person on earth who ever played with it. It was a thing Leo Fender came up with to like fully shield this pickup and get rid of hum. But everybody took it off because it kills your technique. You can't play with it on there. So yeah, I'm not sure if it has a... If the 3rd gen is on sale, get that one. $100. It's alright. So I think this is good, but I don't know if... I can't... There's no pictures of the back. I think there's an XLR on the back because like something's plugged in. Looks like their microphone's plugged in on the back. So you have a 1/4 inch and a mic input. This one's good. It'll work for any kind of instrumental stuff you're doing. Let's find a cheaper one. I have a Behringer I use on another computer that's really good. Talking about Behringer. The only problem with it is that it doesn't have balanced outputs, which makes me say get the Presonus instead. There's a Presonus one it's like, you know, the Behringer is $40 and the Presonus is $60. Just pay an extra $20 and get balanced outputs. I personally, you guys can do whatever you want. I skip all of these weird brands. Okay. I skip the fake stuff. I don't know what ESI is. I'm not buying from them. Like, you know, it might be okay. It might even be made in the same factory. But I don't know that. So I'm probably not going to spend money on it. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of stuff that I know right here. Sorry, USB audio interface. Sorry. See if they have anything that I recognize. Sorry for the snorts. Please forgive me. Joyo. U-Shares. Now, Pile is one This is really cheap for what you get here. The fact that you could use this as a USB interface, this mixer. This is an $85 mixer. That's a really good price for a 4-input mixer. Does it have how many buses? Is it 1 bus or 2? It's a 1 bus, it looks like, but it's okay. You know. Yeah, I've seen I've had a Behringer vibrato pedal that was $30 and it's been on my gigging board for about 4 years now. Cheap enclosures held up. Yeah, they're not bad. I think they're actually pretty good. Their gin is great, but it turns off on its own once in a while. Not a big deal though. Recently bought a 3rd generation solo. Couldn't remember why I didn't buy the 4th. Maybe it's just price. Like, are you getting that much more for that? But that's a good price on the 4th gen one here. $100. It's a good piece of hardware. Yeah, the other thing you'll need is studio monitors. So I think I have some recommendations here. Okay, let's see. So right away, these PreSonus Aris series are really good. I have them. The ones I have are 5-inch. I have 5 or 5.5 inch drivers on mine. The 3.5 are small. Maybe too small, but $85 is a really good price on them. So if we just take a look at those. Mainly because they are pretty balanced. I've used them. Let's see if they have a picture of the back. So they do have like extra inputs. Here's a picture of the back. You can kind of, it has a little EQ on the back. So if you feel like it's a little too boomy, you can turn that down, turn down the bass, stuff like that. Yeah. So this is what I have. I have 2 of these. They're good. If you can get them for $100 each, that's a good price in my opinion. $85 for this pair, that's okay. Now I have these as well. Notice it says like purchased. So you know that I have them. I'm on my Amazon. You know that I bought it. I had these in my schoolroom. $85 is a really good price for these, and they are actually a really good set of speakers. I think I paid about that for them, $80 maybe. I might have paid less, but we've had inflation, so bought them last year. The only weird thing about these, so they don't show the back. So can you look at it? Oh, that's not what they look like on the back. That's not. They have balanced inputs, okay? So you can do balanced 1/4 inch inputs. You can do RCA, which is what I have them hooked up to. And you can do, it has a bunch of inputs. So I can hook up my computer. I can hook up like a keyboard, like a, like the push or whatever. I can hook that up into it and hook up the computer and plug in headphones and do auxiliary on the front. The only weird thing about these, they sound great. They're plenty of power. The only weird thing is that this volume knob here is like digital. It goes click, 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 click. Not a deal breaker for me at all. And there's actually a virtue to the click, which is that if you just have a regular pot, eventually it will get dusty and dirty and it'll get really scratchy. I have this on my PA right now, is that and it might cut out. So if you wire up a regular pot, eventually you can end up with some issues where it gets scratchy. The digital ones don't seem to do that. But I don't know why they went with digital. Really weird to me. Weird thing, but it's great. I've been happy with my M Audio BX5 set. Had them for years now, and they're as good as new. Yeah. Anyway, I think these are the best bang for your buck. I have them, so you know I put my money where my mouth is. I think the PreSonus are good. I've used them before. That's a good price. Let's see what else we got. Here's the M Audio BX3s. That's probably as good as the PreSonus, same price. And Generally, they're pretty good. You do have balanced inputs, which is what you want. You can switch the position of the active speaker, which is what you want. You do have an EQ on the back, so it's good. They're good speakers. So the thing about if you're getting something with 3.5-inch drivers, you are probably going to be mixing your bass too low. If you get a subwoofer that goes with it, maybe not. Maybe not. I had these Mackeys years ago. They're okay. I wouldn't really recommend them as a first choice though. I'd recommend maybe the M Audios or the Presonus for like the entry level stuff. $85, that's a really good price. I'm not seeing too much other stuff that I think is like worth checking out. The KRKs, I'm not a huge fan of those. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, those are the two buys. The Presonus and the M Audios are both good in my opinion. These edifiers, these are bookshelf speakers. I wouldn't use them as reference monitors, but they might be good to like hook up to an Alexa. Like if I wanted a really cheap, just like music playing thing, I'd get an Echo Dot. Oh wait, they took the output out of Echo Dots. Never mind. Buy an old Echo Dot, a 2nd gen, and then just plug that into it, and there's your stereo. Do you know much about fuses? I have a 1930s electric alarm clock and want to install a fuse in the cord, ideally in some sort of small fuse holder inside the clock case. I don't really know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to wire in a fuse. That's probably outside of my expertise. I have a Behringer Bigfoot microphone. Yes, okay, we've got that. Yes, okay, good. So yeah, those are the buys for that. If you're looking, again, you want to do stuff, you want to be able to hear what you've recorded and hear it accurately. Both of those are going to be fairly accurate if not a little low on the bass side. Generally, they're still okay. You know, you're still going to do a good job. Make sure you check with headphones. Let's actually look at headphones. We're going to look at studio headphones. Consumer stuff is not my forte. Sennheiser does make fine consumer grade headphones as well as studio headphones. I wouldn't buy these. They look okay. They might be fine, but I don't know what this brand is, so I don't trust it. Whereas if let's hit the Prime Deal thing, right? You know, whereas the Audio Technicas, I trust a little more. This is going to be like the bottom. This is not a studio monitor. This is a wireless headphone. It's a consumer headphone. Yeah, we're just getting a lot of other random crap in here. So these are on the low end of what I would buy. Like this, I think these are acceptable for a pair of headphones when you are on a really tight budget. $40. The rule of thumb is you want to be spending $50 per ear. But these will do. They have a big enough driver, you'll be able to hear things. I would probably recommend you just spend the extra money and get the AKG K240s. They're a really good entry level, and they're just a little bit more expensive. Again, Fifine. I don't know who Fifine is. It might be the same. This might be an Audio Technica headset. If you look, it's like really similar, but we don't know. We don't know that. The Joyos look exactly like AKGs. They may be made in the same place, but we don't know that. Philips. I'm not really known for open back studio monitors. Reference monitors. Here, these are pretty good. And they're blue. They're a pretty color. I like the pretty color. M50X. So the M50s are pretty good headphones. Pretty balanced. I do like how they fold up. If you want to know exactly what I use these. DT 770 Pro by Beyerdynamic. And I'm using the 80 ohm version. 80 ohm, I think. Yeah. They have like different versions. I have a set that is the lower ohmage. It's like 15 ohms. Not as good, mainly because A lot of reasons, but they still sound really good, and they're really good if you just want to plug them into a phone or like your computer. So the 15 ohm ones sound really good for a lot of things. 80 ohms is kind of more, it's easier to drive them. They're not as good as like a 300 ohm headphone as far as like getting the full bass response and getting the response to be really flat, but they're good. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. So it looks like those are probably like the good buy. But if you're looking to save money and get something cheaper, the AKG K240s, even though they're not on sale, $70, that's probably it's a good reference monitor. They're not closed. They're open back, so they do have a more natural sound, which is good, but they don't have an isolating sound, which may be bad depending on what you're using them for. Again, fine. I would love to check some of these out. I'm not sure why, but the only headphones that have ever sounded fully correct to me are the Sony MDR V150. All the more expensive headphones I've tried sound terrible to me. So yeah, I've heard the Sony has some reference headphones in here too. Some reference monitors. Sennheiser has a big name because of what they had in the past. Like they put audiophile. They're good, like they're fine sounding headphones. I usually don't feel like they're quite worth the money for most of the things that you're doing. Let's look up Sony headphones. XM4s, XM5s, these are just like your active noise canceling consumer headphones. They're supposed to be really good. The XM4s were also supposed to be really good. Sony has these weird model names though, like CH720N. Like, are these bad or good for $88? I don't know. They're probably good. They're probably fine. The CH520 wireless headphones, $40. They're probably fine for $40, honestly. What else? The MDR ZX110NC noise canceling headphones. The MDR I'm not sure what these things stand for. Ultware. Don't know. MDR 7506. Large diaphragm microphone, or large diaphragm headphone. This is closer to a studio monitor, if you're looking for a studio monitor. LinkBuds S. The XM4s, XM5s again. I know they have some actual studio monitors that are actually pretty good, but it's going to be hard to find them. These are going to be the closest. I'm not seeing any that are like the MV1. These are like actual professional headphones. Again, you're spending a lot for that though, so just keep that in mind. And I think for $400 you can probably find ones that are even better or just as good, but not $400 once you're getting into wired headphones. Anyway, yeah. I have Sony, the original Sony LinkBuds. I got them off Woot for like 30. I think originally $40, and then I got these for like 25. These are the ones that like the holes. These are cool if you have kids and you're like trying to listen to some. They actually sound really good for music in the headphone, in the earbud area. Earbuds usually sound pretty bad. Those ones sound okay, but then you can like kind of hear your kids because of the hole in them. You know. Yeah, I'm not seeing like great like headphone deals. Interfaces, I think we covered those. And let me just look at audio interfaces. And I'll just tell you the ones that I think are good. I have this. See, purchased. I don't recommend this. Actually, this is a really good price, $35. If you are broke and you need a decent audio interface, this one will do it. I have one in my schoolroom, and I paid $40 for it. Right. It says one channel. It's actually two, but it's not balanced outputs. But it is USB class compliant. It'll work with your phone, and that's what it is. It's actually hooked up to a phone right now. And the phone is hooked up to a Wacom tablet. It's a weird setup, but it's really cool. I should do a video on it sometime. It's great for kids because to use the interface, they have to use their pencil, so it gets that pencil grip. The one I would recommend is actually this PreSonus. Where is it? I think it is this one. The AudioBox Go, if you're looking for like the cheap. So this has USB, it's USB, it has a mic and an instrument. It has mains outs that are actually balanced outputs instead of RCA. This is a good one. $70, it's an okay price. But then you could go up to this one, which is going to be a little more full-featured. The PreSonus mic pre's that I've used have always been pretty decent. I feel like Focusrite mic preamps are better. They always sound a little quieter, I guess. This one also has MIDI, so there you go. You get a MIDI interface. If you just need to get MIDI into your computer, let me find this thing for you. It's called the MIDI Spy. Here it is. The MIDI Spy. This thing's, it seems really like there's nothing to it, but you can do all kinds of stuff with this. If you just need to get like your old Yamaha DX7 to talk to your computer, this thing will do it really well. And you can actually use this, as I've used it, to bring an expression pedal into a MIDI chain. So you can bring a switch and a pedal into this. Very cool. $40 is a really good price. And they're pretty rugged. I have one over here somewhere. I don't know where I put it. It's in my big bin of crap in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. The MIDI Spy. I still have something hooked up to it. Oh yeah. So you can use a stereo splitter cable. I have it plugged into the expression pedal, and you plug this into a volume pedal, and then you can use the volume pedal as an expression pedal on your computer. It looks pretty cool. This little part will light up with all your MIDI info, and it powers via USB or via pedal board. So it's cool. Very rugged. This is like a steel enclosure. This is a knob, not a click, but like you can beat the crap out of this. It works great. So that's a cool item. Not on sale, but I just thought I'd mention that in case there's anything cool. I don't know. What other kind of stuff are people interested in? The weird thing was the Sony MDR V150 was $20 when they were new. They don't make them anymore, so they sound perfect to me somehow. They can be really balanced. Just because a headphone is not super expensive doesn't mean it doesn't sound really like really well balanced. Oh, I wasn't even showing this. Yeah, here it is. The MIDI Spy. Yeah, so this is a cool little addition if you need to bring some MIDI into your computer or whatever. You need to bring it in. What other pieces of gear do people like? Let's look at MIDI controllers. I'll give you some opinions on those. We'll see if there's anything for sale. Let's see here. A Donner. This is kind of a cool controller. I've never used this. For $70 might be fun to hook up to your laptop. Donner usually makes okay stuff. Looks like you have a couple touch pads for pitch and modulation. That's fun. You have a couple little pads you can play drum beats in. A micro keyboard if you're okay playing clavichord style keyboards. It's okay. This looks like it is the equivalent of a Novation Launchpad. I don't know who this is though, so I don't think I would pay $107 for it. See if there's anything else I use here that's like the MIDI Captain. MIDI Captains are cool if you just need to like switch channels. Oh, I have one of these. I have one of these guys right here. I didn't buy it off of here. $95 is an okay price. So I have this. I have it on my pedal board right now. I don't know if I want to rip it off to show you. But that's me clicking it. I like it under my desk so I can click. I can play with the little switches as I do stuff. It's called the Ampero Control. It is you can program this thing with a phone app to put out whatever MIDI information you want. And I use it to do all kinds of stuff in Ableton. Maybe I can show that. But anyway, yeah. So it has MIDI in, it has MIDI through. It has two switch extensions here on the top. And you can get a little Ampero switch, which is what I have. You can add 2 more extra buttons times 2, so you could have 4 extra buttons and have it like an 8 switch thing, which is a lot for this. It is USB powered, but it also can be powered on your pedal board if you're using it without a computer. You're just using it for the MIDI out and through to control like another outboard piece of equipment, like an amplifier or something that has MIDI control. What else? But you can also use this as an expression pedal. You can fully map it in the app. Let me show you the app. So I'm not trying to sell people on everything, but like if you're looking for like a really cool thing, let's see here. There it is. So I connected to my switch underneath my computer, and here it goes. Let me show you. There you go. You have a cool little interface. You can go here, and you can make it an expression pedal if you want for the first switch output. The other one, you can make a switch. You can change how the switches work. Are they momentary? Do they send 2 signals? You can have it send 2 different MIDI signals. It's super programmable. It's a very cool piece of tech for less than $100. Like it's a little clunky to use the software, but it really is super versatile. You could even get this with a little expression switch here. You can get this Ampero Press, this expression pedal. This would be pretty cool. I had it wired up to an extra volume pedal I had, but it's probably better with like their expression. Who makes this? Hot One makes it. I haven't found like another brand that just makes that. Here's the MIDI Captain 1. It looks like it's just a switch. It's a switch. I need 1 switch. This is a stand for stuff. I don't know about Legato stuff. A lot of this I don't know what all this is cases. Cases for this or that. If anybody's looking for an 88 key keyboard, I don't know about these multi-effects processors either. I don't know about this stuff. I don't think I would buy like a weird name guitar effects pedal. So if anybody's looking for like an 88 key controller or 88 key like digital piano, there's one on sale from Donner, and there's a Yamaha that I looked up earlier that's on a pretty deep discount. It's basically the same Yamaha keyboards. Here's an Alesis that's pretty good, right? The built-in speakers. I really care about brands for this kind of stuff because you want them to make it You know, you want it to be reliable. Here's the Roland Go piano. You can honestly get some really good 88 key controllers. There's a Yamaha that's for sale that's pretty good. It's the same kind of stuff. It's almost the same kind of piano I would use for piano classes. Generally has good feel. Feels like a Clavinova. It's not perfect. Like the weighted keys are not perfect, but they're good enough. They're close enough. Let's see what else we've got. I wouldn't buy like these off brands. Skip that. No, buy like Yamaha, or I would buy a Donner because I think they've made enough good stuff that I've dealt with that I think they're probably okay to buy. I wonder if there's like that Native Instruments controller. Say a MIDI controller. A key weighted keyboard. There's an Amazon Basics one. I don't know if I'd get that one. Here's your Yamaha. It even has it's basically a Clavinova. It's like the speakers fire down with a couple features missing. You know, it doesn't have all the sounds. But if you just need a piano sound, it's fine. And I think it has MIDI out and that kind of stuff, so it's probably a good one to get. I saw a Roland in there too. Folding piano, very cute. I don't think I would want to learn on that though. Here's the Roland for $400. Pretty cheap. Looks pretty cheap to me. Slap that Roland name on there. Yeah, Yamaha's what I'd recommend for that. One day I'd love to have a controller for evaluating code for sound synthesis. Huh. That's an interesting idea. This Casio is red. It's red. It's a red one. We like red. How about this one? What do you got? You got some guitars? The Axe Edge. It's not on sale. The good stuff, like the really good stuff's never on sale. Look at this. Look at this guy. I don't know what I'm doing. I got it all backwards. This kid's having a good time. $30. Fun toy. Fun toy. Yeah, I wonder what we've got here. Do we have anything from Akai? We'll just start typing in brands. Akai MPK Mini. They're okay. Yeah. What about location? So I'll show you the controller I use for my stuff. This one over here. It's an Ovation launch key. It integrates really well with Ableton, and that's why I like it. You can get a launch pad. This will work if you're using Ableton to like launch different sounds and stuff. This one will do it. APC Mini Mark II. That's pretty cool, actually. This would be pretty good if you don't need any of the other stuff on a push. This could work. Use this, and then you're like, I don't want to play songs in on the push. I just want a regular keyboard. Yeah. I have a launch key. Launch key mini. What happens if I hit the prime deals? There's probably nothing. Nah, nothing. DJ backpack. That looks like fun. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good controller. It's really held up. I've had it for about 8 or 9 years. It has, you could program all the little switches on it. I don't know if you guys can see this. These faders work. You can program them to control volume. So it gives me some extra control surface for if I'm doing something in Ableton and I'm doing a live thing. I can just immediately change volumes. I could do what I do more efficiently. I try to do it. I end up doing most of it on the Ableton because it's just such a good interface for in the push because it's such a good interface for Ableton. But I can do a lot of extra stuff on the Novation as well. It works really good. So I'm not seeing it here though. I'm trying to think if there's any other pieces of gear that people might want. Let's look at cheap guitars. Let's see what we've got for guitars. We've looked at the cheap pianos. Prime Day guitars. What do we got? A Fender. We got a Fender cheap acoustic. It's probably worth $160. This is more interesting to me though. This Novago carbon fiber acoustic guitar. It has a built-in speaker, so it has this like built-in speaker. I think it uses batteries. Does it? No. Weird. I think they have an electric guitar here too. I wouldn't buy a Best Choice Products 39-inch guitar. I don't think I would buy that. We have the Inigo half size. So that's a half size guitar for a kid. The Inya Novago. That's a half size. Inya acoustic guitar, carbon fiber. That's fun. Like this is kind of interesting that we got these for sale. Carbon fiber guitars are really cool. They don't sound bad. Contrary to popular belief, carbon fiber guitars often sound really good, and they're very strong. Now this is something I would buy. Right here, look at this. It has a built-in speaker. That's rad. This looks CG. This doesn't look real to me. This looks like it was a CG image. But I don't think it is because of the way the little slugs on the pickups look. I think the slugs on the pickups look weird because I don't know why. Maybe it is CG. Those slugs look weird. Yeah, it looks like CG. This doesn't look real. This looks real. I can see the screw slugs on the pickups. This looks like just a CG thing. This doesn't look real at all. But it has some cool stuff. Wait, does it come in different colors? That would be cool. Black is $351. What color is this? Bel Air blue to match my other guitar. That's cool. You got a pink one. No, it has a dragon. And a white one. Can't go wrong with white. Now this is, am I going to pay extra for the pink and purple? I would. I think I would. That is a cool paint job. And I think it has an input. Like I think you could plug another device into it. And like the sound would come out of it. That would be a really cool thing. And it has a USB output, so it might be its own audio interface, which would be pretty cool. It's an onboard speaker, which opens up endless sonic possibilities. Not endless. The 10-watt output power is perfect for practice and small acoustic jam sessions. Meanwhile, we can load presets and effects and have them amplified through the speaker. The wireless connectivity facilitates backing track playback. So I guess you can like have Bluetooth hookup for it. Perfect choice for a couch guitar. And it's in this beautiful cosmic purple grading color. It looks amazing. It does look. This is CG though. Right? This is a CG image. This is weird, dude. Look at this. This is definitely a CG image. That is not a real image. It's not really going to look like that. Those strings are not how, that's not how guitar strings look. How weird. Yeah, this is a CG image too. This might be real. Weird. Like, that's definitely CG, guys. Look at that. That's not real. They have CG pictures of this guitar here. It looks cool, though. It looks like a cool guitar. I've heard about these. I'd have to get the pink and purple one. Each preset's customizable through the In-Music app. So it has a headphone output. The USB-C jack is for charging and OTG recordings. What does OTG mean? Everything's played on the guitar, including the backing tracks, can be recorded into an external device through the OTG function. I'm guessing they mean like it's its own interface. See, the only thing that would really like sell this for me is if it had an audio input. What is this thing? Oh, this is like their... Again, this is CG. You know, all of this is computer generated, which is so weird. This is like probably a better acoustic guitar, right? It's fake. It's a fake acoustic. Wild. It's so weird. It looks really cool, though. Definitely looks cool. The neck profile is asymmetrical for the optimum hand feel. Oh, you lost me. I don't want asymmetrical necks. Asymmetrical guitar neck. What? It's for people who play wrong. I don't know. Weird. Another one. That's probably the coolest find for guitars. These are cool. If you've never seen these before, this is a carbon fiber guitar. They just kind of shape it here. And it has like onboard effects. Very cool. Yeah, these are pretty cool. $345. A lot of this is just like beginner garbage. I'm not seeing anything that's like remotely cool. String swings, they're all the same kind of thing. I have them. Joyo. West Creek. We got some cheap guitars, man. $76. I don't think I'd go that low. This one's $108. That's pretty cheap. It's $142 if you want a fun color. That is really cheap for like a half-size guitar that's probably pretty decently made. Yeah. All right, I'm not seeing any other cool like finds. Not seeing any good brands. Should we look at pedals? Let's see what pedals we got. We'll do the Prime Day guitar pedals deals. Here we're getting into better stuff here. All right, Noise Killer. Noise Gate. Noise gates are really, really useful if you're playing with high gain. It's a Donner, so it's probably going to be okay. Let's see what we got. Ampero switch, $16. This can be used as a foot switch for any amp too. So I have one. It's good. Purchased. You can see I bought one. A Zoom. I'm not into these really. These might be fun for like if you just need to practice with some different sounds and you have space for this. I don't know. Stritch Tsunami overdrive pedal. I wouldn't wouldn't cheap out on the overdrive. That's one effect that I'm like, you gotta really hear it and get a good one. The Riffer. Don't know anything about this. The Invave. A reverb pedal. So reverb is another thing that you either should get it cheap or the best thing. There's not really in between. Depends on how much you care about the sound of the reverb. People will spend huge amounts of money on good reverb pedals and whole outboard reverb units, big spring tanks and stuff. It really matters. This Flamma reverb one, maybe that one's okay, but it's probably Flamma's on the cheap side. I've reviewed Flamma before. It's good for what it is. It's budget. A wah pedal for $48. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything besides like a noise gate that would be like okay to really cheap out on. Decay. British Stack Simulator. I wouldn't buy that. Killer Shark Boost pedal. I don't use boost pedals, so I don't know. Lakato multi-effects pedal. Wouldn't get it. Joyo Atmosphere digital reverb with modulation. It's rated pretty good. I might get that if I needed a reverb pedal. I do pretty much everything on the computer now, though. Sonic Cake. Warped Dimension. Chorus flange. If you wanted just like an all-in-one modulator, that might be okay. Levitate. Reverb. It does have a good control, like a wet-dry control for the reverb and stuff. That might be okay. A looper pedal. $35. It's probably okay. Yeah, these are all like really cheap. The Ghost Rain reverb delay. True bypass. I don't think true bypass matters as much as people think it does. They like to see that as a product thing. True bypass. Okay. No buffering. Sometimes buffers are good. Buffered volume pedals sound better, in my opinion. A lot better. There we go. You know what? I know some stuff that's on sale that's definitely going to be good, which is there's going to be some pedal boards on sale. Well, let's look at those before we quit here. I can't think of any other gear. Mic stands. Cheap. It's okay to buy like cheaper mic stands, right? Cheaper mic stands are usually fine. Okay, cheaper mic stands, mic clips, like shock mounts, all that stuff you can buy on the cheaper end, and it's fine. I wouldn't buy cheap condenser mics too often, other than the ones I talked about. Cheap guitar cables, very hit or miss, and you'll find that when we look some up. It's not that you need to pay for like a Monster cable or a Fender cable or a Planet Waves cable, but I pretty much just use Fender and Planet Waves cables and Monster cables. I don't use shitty cables. Like the first time you plug in a crappy cable and it dies on you, that would be like the last time you want to ever plug in crappy cables again. I use crappy cables for like the interface between like switches, right? Because you don't need high fidelity to like patch in a switch, but you need it for your sound. So we'll look at cables too. Elater, the Moore, analog flanger, Enchanted Tone, highly prized overdrive, 4 stars. It's okay, you know. Octaver, an octave pedal, might be okay. Here's our expression pedal. It's on sale, but not like a Prime Day deal, but it's still on sale. The Flamma, these are okay if you want a multi-effects pedal, but I don't use multi-effects pedals for anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's like solid or good. Here let's look at pedal board, because there's some that I think are actually really good on here. The Donner pedal board with case is a fine pedal board. It is made of solid aluminum. It has rubber feet. It has a little space to put your power supply. It's fine. It comes with a case. It's not the best for the price, though. Let's keep looking. This is just like a storage case. Looks nice, but I wouldn't pay for that. Ghostfire. These ones are pretty good. So Ghostfire pedal boards are good. They're just, this one's small. So you'd really want the, whatever the biggest one is. They have these nice rubber feet. They really don't slip around. They have lots of room for you to patch cables through. And then they have like a good little case. So they're decent. Here's like a no name, but it's probably fine. Yeah, I think for pedal boards you're okay like going with an off-brand. It's just like a hunk of steel or aluminum, so it's probably fine as long as like the feet are good on it and it's big enough. The big problem with most of these is trying to find one that is large enough, right? Like, hold on. Like, I have a homemade one down here. I use good Velcro, so I can't just rip the pedals off. I gotta like really rip them off. Flanger would be cool, yeah. Earthquaker Devices, Red Panda are my favorite pedal companies going. Yeah, it's hard to find those like on a big sale. But you just kind of keep your ears out. You might find one. Good pedal boards. Yeah, the Ghostfire's okay. This is one that I think I'm actually gonna buy one. So I think there's an orange one. And it's just like, it's orange. And that's cool. Because my homemade one is good. It's really, really big. It's like this big. It's made out of a Home Depot shelf. So you can make these you can make a pedal board for like $10 at Home Depot with a shelf and some like stick-on feet. I did the wrong kind of stick. I did felt feet so I could slide it around. It's an experimental pedal, so I can just like move everything around. It's really giant versus like something that you're trying to gig with and keep it compact. What's a good one? This one's kind of cool. It has like a built-in little power supply there. Do you need a really nice power supply? In my opinion, no. I've never had power supplies really fail. Like the off-brand ones are usually fine as long as they deliver enough output. You hear about some of them being noisy. I think that depends on how sensitive your pedals are and what kind of ground loop thing you have going, or whether you have if you have your power supply for your pedals plugged into a power conditioner. I've never had ground loop issues with them. They've always been really quiet. I've never had issues with like cheaper power supplies, but you can get a more expensive power supply if you feel like you need that security for it. I've even seen people powering their pedal boards with USB power banks. You can actually get a USB, a thing that'll convert to a USB to a 9-volt, and you can power a bunch of pedals. The problem is, like, I have a Crybaby. That's what I was going to pull up. It's like Crybabys are big, Crybabys are 18 volts, so that wouldn't work for what I have to like get rid of the mucky muck. And they also tend to be low noise because you're just not plugged into the mains power at all. So you're not going to get ground loop noise because you're not touching the ground loop. You're not touching, nothing is going to ground. Yeah, I want one that's big. This is what we want. So this one's probably good. Right? It has a little place underneath to put your power supply, and it's got big rubber feet. $51, and it comes with some grip tape. Comes with some Velcro to like put that on there. Perfect. I think there's an orange one. I'm gonna look for. Actually, I want to see if there's a man who makes the expandable one. Is it Daddario? That's the one. This one. This one is really good. This is not on sale. These are awesome because you can just like make them as long as you want to make them. The only problem with these is like if you have a crybaby or like I'll just let me show you my volume pedal. I'll pull it off. Hold on. Oh man. Here it is. This is my volume pedal, guys. It's not the biggest volume pedal you can get. The Ernie Ball, it's not a volume pedal junior. It's volume pedal senior. Stereo, baby, stereo. It has a nice loud clack too. That's my volume pedal. It's at least 12 inches. It fits my giant feet. Yeah, I see these ones that are like this big. I'm like, that's cool if you're a toddler. Okay, I'm 6'2". I would like something that my whole foot can put on, right? And this one works. Here's the shoe. Boom. Fits a size 13 shoe. No problem. No problem. So yes, that's the volume pedal I use. So most pedal boards are like this. You can't even put this whole thing on there. So that's why I did the Home Depot pedal board. It's like it's big enough. Yeah, so things I think are okay to spend less on for guitar pedals. So here's what I think you should spend more on for guitar pedals. Compressors. Get a good Boss compressor or comparable brand, right? If you don't want to do a buffered pedal. Personally, I don't care about buffered pedals. I use like active pickups and stuff. Anyway, I don't care. Compressors, I think you need a good quality compressor, especially if you don't want it to be noisy and weird. Distortion or overdrive. And if you want really good reverb, you got to have like a big Sky. It's going to be expensive. Okay, like reverb effects tend to be the most expensive kinds of effects to buy. Outboard tanks are really expensive, so those are the ones that generally are going to be expensive, and you don't want to scrimp on them because they'll sound like crap if you don't. Delay, believe it or not, I think delay is a cheap effect. It's really easy to find a good sounding delay that's cheap. You can get a noise gate. The cheap noise gate will work fine. Flanger, any effect that you're not using a lot of. So like a flanger, chorus, delay, vibrato, those I think it's okay to like get the Behringer thing. Anyway, I like this Daddario expandable pedal. We want 2 rows. How much is that? $200, man. It's cool though because you can get it to be just whatever you need, you know. I have to do 2 rows because that pedal's giant. It probably still wouldn't even fit on there. I've noticed that cheap Chinese brands often have names created by combining random English words or adding a syllable or two to one. It's a dead giveaway once you learn to spot it. Yeah, like eArt, the eArt guitars. They're actually okay guitars, but they're just Chinese guitars. Or like the Hot One pedal. It's a Chinese pedal. It's good though. I have one. But it's Chinese. It's not a Roland MIDI controller. It's not Japanese made, but it's good for what it is. For less than $100, you're getting something that's actually pretty decent. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is what I want right here. Look at this thing. It's orange. It's very orange. Like I might actually get this. I wonder if is the tape orange. I like that you could put the power supply in that little niche there, but you probably wouldn't set it up like this with it facing out. You'd face it inward, and if you could, you'd face it inward so that you could run all the little cables up through these holes here. I guess it just has black tape. It would be cool if it had orange tape, but you're not going to forget about this at the gig. Everyone's going to see it. You have a big orange bag. You're not losing your orange bag. You know what I mean? Someone might want to steal it because it's orange, but whatever. This one has a built-in one, I think, which is cool, but it's very small. This is big, right? 12.5 inches by 22 inches. That's big enough to hold most of my pedals. But I'd have to be kind of efficient with the ones I have now, because I'll do a video on my pedal board maybe. I have a volume pedal and a wah pedal. I have a piano sustain pedal on there. I have another single big Boss switch that operates the Ableton. I have then I have the Hot One pedals. I have all those on there. I had a really crazy setup when I did the rain song that was like 50 minutes, where I had a wah. I had all this stuff. It was crazy. It was a little too much. So I might get that. I really might get that, because then it's cool. You can put it in a case. Easy for me to move it out of the room onto the patio or something to record, or go somewhere else. I'm not having a bunch of pedals, right? This is to manage pedals that are hooked up to my computer, or to like the push. It's to manage other things, right? And then I have a giant foot switch for my actual amp that's like huge, my Mesa Boogie foot switch. It's a big foot switch. It's a big amp. Here's a Fender branded one. It's not on sale, but it's small. How much is the large? Give me the large. It looks really solid though. Like, this is high quality. Like, you can tell. They don't make garbage. They have like 2 little niches in there to put stuff. They got all kinds of places for you to screw things down. These little brackets. They got tons of cool stuff. So these are good. Well, we're looking for budget stuff. What's the budget thing? Gator cases. These are pretty good. I have a Gator soft pedal board. Again, it's orange. I love orange. They have a Crybaby on it, so the Crybaby fits. The Crybaby fits on the pedal board. Yeah, Soyan was that other brand. What the heck is Soyan? This is kind of cool. To solve your space problems. Expandable. By Holy Board. Because it has holes. The Holy Board has holes. And you can have like upper and lower rows. That's pretty cool. I can dig on that. It's not on sale though. This was the thing. We used to have these Boss cases. Then you just put all the Boss pedals in it. All your Boss pedals in a little Boss case. We're really into Boss pedals. Yeah. Anyway, I don't feel like you're losing anything if you are saving a little money on a pedal board. It's a big hunk of aluminum or steel. It's probably effective. Yeah, the Fender one's nicer. It has big handles on it. That's cool. Makes it easier for it to disappear too. It's a lot of good stuff. The pedal train stuff, that's what we used to have back in the day. That was always so expensive for what you got. We used to just end up making them half the time. We'd make them out of plywood and things like that, because it was so expensive. And you have to carry this big thing under your arm. Yeah. Anyway, I think I'm about out of time. If there's any other gear you could think of that we could like look at, I think I might get that orange pedal board. Pedal board, orange. Because it's cool. Like, orange is super visible. Here it is. Yeah. I might get that. $55. There's a couple different versions. Here's the large one. You want the large one, right? Large is better. Bigger's better, and it always has been. This one's really big, though. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm gonna buy a couple of couple more doorbell cameras. I have one here. I have like 2 doors that people come to, and we're out on the patio a lot, and I can't hear the doorbell. So, help me know if somebody's at the door. Yeah. Anything else we should look at? See if there's any Behringer stuff on sale. Behringer. Yeah, the Euphoria, that's a good price if you gotta have like the cheapest thing. You don't have any money, that'll work. The C2 Match Studio Condenser microphones, $45. That is cheap. Cheap. I have one of these. Purchased 2016. $18. If you need to run the sound off a mixer into like a computer to record something, that's what I used it for. It's great. Good for that. $17, totally worth it. Here's a DI. A Donner DI. Not bad for a DI box. The Behringer $10 mic. It probably sounds like crap. I don't think I would spend that little. Compressor sustainer. I don't know if I would trust the Behringer compressor, but you can. Somebody who's used it can probably weigh in. Yeah, that orange pedal board's sweet. That's why I think I'm going to get it. I've actually had the biggest Ghostfire board for years now. The only issue is the cheap case it comes with went to crap after a few gigs. Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. I have a Gator one that's really good, and it's held up, but it's a soft case, and it's kind of cool. You flip it over, and it like sticks. There's problems with it, though, because it's not rigid. It's just not robust enough for gigging, and it's not big enough to hold my pedals. What's a cheap boom arm for a computer desk? One that would hold a Blue Yeti or Behringer Bookfoot. Yeah, dude, let's look at that. Behringer Super Fuzz. These are all good. Yeah, let's look at boom arms. Mic boom. Let's find one because there's a lot of options. I think it's okay to buy any of these. They're probably fine. There's not like a special brand for these. I have like a really expensive one, and then I have cheap ones, and the expensive one is worse than the cheap ones in a lot of ways. It's missing some really critical features. This one looks really nice. It's got like everything enclosed, all the springs enclosed. It even says for Blue Yeti, $33. Let's take a look at it. So this one, I have used booms like this. So what I used this for was to go up and over and to have it come down. So they're showing it in a way that I would not actually use this. So what I would actually use this for is to go over a monitor and to hang it above my head. That way it's instead of being in frame down here, it's like out of frame up here. Like that's just right here is really where I would prefer to have my microphone. Is like out of frame right here. I have a boom arm to do that, but I'm gonna have to drill holes in the desk because you have to bolt that sucker down. It is heavy. It is a heavy duty thing. And I don't remember who made it. Like American Stands or something, or On Stage Stands made it. It's good. This is a little low profile one. Let me tell you, these don't tend to hold up heavy mics well. They work okay if your mic is very light, but a Blue Yeti is pretty heavy. So I probably wouldn't trust this to do that. Like I would use something like this to kind of get the mic in front of my face for like streaming. A lot of people want to use like an SM, what am I thinking of? A Shure SM7B, I think, is what I'm thinking of. This one says it's made for a Blue Yeti. This is a clamp on, so you don't have to drill holes, and it has the arm extension, so that's probably good. You can put that arm extension in there and get it up over your monitors, so that's what you want to do. This one may not have springs in it. You may have to like manually tighten everything. Personally, I like ones with springs because then you can move it around if you need to. Yeah, I think most of these are probably fine. Here's one made by Rode. You notice that you're going to pay a little bit more if you're going to get the actual name brand, but you're probably going to get more. You know, they have these socks to silence the springs. You have ways to crank down this part and keep it really tight. You know, integrated cable management, that stuff's nice. Yeah, I think something like this will probably be okay. This is completely out of scale. It wouldn't look like this. But if you're looking to get it up and over your monitor and out of the frame, you wouldn't hang it that low. Again, you wouldn't put it there. What you'd do is you'd hang it up here so that it's out of the frame. That's the whole point of this. Can a condenser microphone on the cardioid setting catch your voice well when it's hanging above your head? Yes. It's about where it's facing. Okay. So if it's upside down, as long as it's facing you, and then it's probably going to catch your voice. I've used it for years that way. This is pretty close to like, it's still not at like voice level, but it'll be the same just above. It's easier to keep things out of the frame above you than below you because of the way that camera angles tend to work. So both of them work. You could also do a low profile to like put it down here. Like if I wanted to have it be sideways and be like this, that would be really good. I had that for a while, but I just couldn't figure out a way to make it easily work without having like a big boom arm sticking up over here. So there's different ways to do it. That's, you know, if you want to keep it out of the frame down here, some way to keep it down here would be good. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it, but you know, up here is good. That's what I would try to do. Oh, I found a toy onion from Little Girl's Kitchen. Very nice. Put to the side there. All right, any other questions? Yeah, so I would, any of these are probably okay. The best ones are going to have ways that you can like crank down the angles so that it doesn't move. If you're using a heavy mic, having them crank down here might be really helpful to like manage that mic, especially if you don't need to move the mic around. So yeah, I would try to decide, do you want it to go like this? Might be pretty cool right here. You know, do you want it to hang above your head or do you want it to go below your face? This one has a lot of little crank downs, so when you find it where you want, you crank it down and it keeps it pretty solid. If you're wanting to move the microphone around a lot, then you're going to want one with like the springs. Yeah, this would probably work fine for that too. $45. That's probably not a bad price actually. $20 for something like this. It's probably not bad. It looks a little flimsy to me. Again, these weird Chinese brands, it's hard to know what to buy. Fine. What is Fine? Moano. Fine. Fifine. I don't know. Here's an Elgato. Right, that's a name brand. Oh, there was a Shure here. So the Shure brand is going to be solid. You just know it's going to be better. That's probably a good mount for like an SM57. That's what that is. A lot of people want to use an SM57 because Joe Rogan uses them. I don't really like the sound of them, personally. They're okay. They're okay for close mic sound. But you have to have an extra like power supply for them, you know. It's okay. I guess if you're looking for a deal, any of these will work. A lot of them look too flimsy to hold up a Blue Yeti, frankly. This one doesn't. It looks robust enough. It looks like you can crank stuff down. You know. But I feel like this would be really stressing it. You have a lot of pressure on that. On that arm. I have like one of these that's just, it's fine. I wouldn't put a Blue Yeti on it. It's just a little too heavy, but I use it for like a camera mount. Something that's light is fine. A Blue Yeti's pretty heavy. This one says it's made for a Blue Yeti, so it's probably a good 5% off, $60. A lot of ratings. You see people using it with it, and they're making it work. So that's probably the one I'd recommend. Seems like lots of people are using it for that purpose. You can lock down the angles to keep it really stable. That's probably what I go with right there. There is an InnoGear one for $16. It's going to be pretty flimsy, but yeah, I have one that is at this quality of level. I don't think I would use it as a Blue Yeti. I do not believe the springs on it are strong enough to hold up a microphone that's that heavy. That's my opinion. A lighter microphone, maybe. A lighter microphone is probably fine. But I don't think I would trust, because I have ones that are exactly like this. I don't think I would trust them. And that also may not get it high enough. This probably would. This probably would be a good boom. Like I would use this. I would use this for my current mics. It's something that I would really consider getting. It looks pretty solid. I could get it like up and over this thing at least, and like maybe put it here. So it could probably work for that. And it'd be heavy enough to support this thing, the NT1. Or you can find one that's similar. What's a cheap one? Let's find the cheaper one. A little bit cheaper one. This one you could probably do, this low profile one, you could probably do some stuff with. Yeah, I mean, that's the one I would probably buy myself. Something where you can lock it down is what you want, rather than the springs. You want to have like a little crank down for each angle, because otherwise it's not going to support a really heavy mic. It's going to have trouble with it. And I have ones that can support heavy mics with springs. I mean, let me find it and I'll show you just how robust it is. Give me a second. See if I have it in the closet. All right. Now that I can see what I'm doing. Let me show you the difference between these two boom arms. If you want the cheaper boom arm, cheaper one looks like this. Okay. This is a Neewer Okay. It works okay. It'll hold a webcam or a cheap mic. It does lock down right here. And it does lock down here. So if you have little crank downs here, this will be fine, probably for a Blue Yeti, if you crank it down, because otherwise what happens is this is just too heavy. You end up with just too much weight on the end of this, pushing it down. It's okay. This is okay. This is a newer. It's probably the same as that. Where's that $16 one? You could probably make it work, actually, is what I'm thinking. As long as you can crank it down, you can probably make it work. This one has those little knobs to tighten it, so that you can crank it so that it's really tight. Flimsy. Let me show you a real one. I don't remember who made this one. Okay. Full size mic. The only problem is there's no crank right here. So if the mic is heavy or you're pointing it out, it wants to come down. That's the problem with this one. The only way to crank it down is by tightening that nut. Okay. Same idea here. You have to tighten the nut. Right here or right here. These springs, look at the difference in the springs. This is made in America, by the way. Cheap Chinese crap, made in America. Can you see the difference here? This thing is 3 times as heavy, and the springs are way stronger. Here's the base for this. Solid steel. It fits into the top here. Technically, you could use this with any kind of tension mount system. Goes in there. You can then put a nut on it to tighten it up, a little clamp. Okay. This is going to cost you a lot of money. But that's the difference. The $33 Inno gear. As long as we can, if this has like a little crank on it, it's probably fine. This one has cranks, it looks like. This is the $16 one. This one will probably do, it's just not going to be super stable. You know, it can hold 3.3 pounds. So pick up your Blue Yeti. Is it 3.3 pounds? It's probably not too much more than that. So you could probably make it work. The $33 one doesn't let you crank down, doesn't let you tighten up the angles, except right here. So I probably wouldn't use that one. Shows it with some Blue Yetis. I don't know, it's probably fine too. That one's probably also, I think you can make the really cheap one work. This one definitely looks nicer. It's not going to be as stable. Like, it's not going to be quite as stable, but it'll work. It'll work. Looks like mine, kind of flimsy. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who made that one. It was called like American Stands or something. It's a really good company. I can't remember their name. They're so good I can't remember them. But they made a really good product. It's a really good product. Only problem is I want to be able to crank. You know, I want to be able to tighten that one spot. Mechanical keyboards. I'm going to talk about those before we go. Everyone should have a mechanical keyboard. All right, Royal Kludge. I have 2 Royal Kludge mechanical keyboards. They're very good for their price. Here's an 8-bit DOE one that looks really cool. I've never bought a mechanical keyboard from 8-bit DOE. I have a controller from them. It's nice. Looks like a Commodore here. If you want something that looks like a Commodore, maybe that's cool. But if you're just wanting something that types really good and it's cheap, Royal Kludge is a really good buy. Keychron is also good. I've had some friends who've used that before. Let's hit that Prime Day deal. Let's see if there's a cheap one. So yeah, let's see here. Red Thunder. Yeah. Red Dragon, those are like the super cheapest that you can get. Here's a Corsair for $100 with cherry browns, if you like them. I only use Cherry MX Blue on my better keyboards. Mine is by Ducky. I have a Ducky keyboard. So this is probably good. You can get one, let's see here, tactile pale green or linear switch Viridian. What shade is Viridian, guys? What is Viridian? I'm gonna have to Google Viridian. What is Viridian? Blue-green pigment. So maybe they mean blue switches. There's the blue bottle. This is Viridian. It's green-ish. All right, whatever. It's pretty cool. It doesn't have your middle stuff, but it has most of the stuff you'd want from the middle part. Does it have a print screen button? Going to be tougher to take screenshots. Oh, maybe it has them with a function. Shift home will print the screen for this guy. That looks pretty cool. $85 is a little expensive for those. Here we go. $63 is more like what I'm thinking. You can get really good mechanical keyboards for cheap now. It's really a great time to be alive. I like this. I like this guy. Look at this guy. Looks like an old IBM. Brown or red switch. I'm not a fan of those. I want blue. But you can buy brown or blue if you want. So the Royal Kludge, the RKs work really good, and they have a bunch of features like Bluetooth and dongles and all kinds of crap. So they're really a good buy for what you get. You get a lot more features for them. I don't feel like the bigger like gaming companies like Corsair, I don't feel like they make better keyboards. I don't feel like they make good keyboards, period. So I'd be much more inclined personally to buy something like this, right? Than to buy a Corsair or something like that. I have a DOS keyboard. I wore it out. I wore out my DOS keyboard. So my current one's a Ducky. I have another one in the closet with blue switches that's pretty good. So yeah, I think overall that RK is probably the best buy. If you don't want like the volume knob, there's a cheaper one, I think, that you can get that's the same thing. It's probably like $5 cheaper. Yeah, let's look. Let's look those up. Yeah, this is the one I get right here. This has like everything that you'd want. It's got a dongle. It's got USB-C. It's got Bluetooth. It's got a hub on it. It's got hot swappable keys if you don't like them. You can change out the keycaps. Though I think the blue looks really cool. So that's probably the keyboard I would get right there. I don't know what yellow switch means. I don't know what yellow switch means. You have to look. Just let's use our classic colors, blue. Yeah, I like this because it It's compact, but you still have the number pad. The number pad's way more important than the home keys and all that kind of crap. Actually, yeah, I'd like this one. Sky blue, turquoise green. Yeah, dude, that's cool. I think that's what I would get right there. I don't really need a keyboard though, so that's what I would get. All right, I think that's about it. You could probably get whatever stuff you need right now. I like to occasionally talk about gear, what you need. If you're writing, it's good to have a mechanical keyboard, good to have a good microphone, good to have a good camera. We didn't look at webcams. I'll quickly look at webcams. I didn't see any that were like really on sale. So there's a bunch of off-brand ones. I wouldn't buy any of them. eMeet, Nexigo, I don't know. I would just buy this one. So the one I recommend is the Logitech C920X. This one. You don't usually need to shoot in 4K, right? For a webcam. 1080p is usually fine. $45 is a good price. I wouldn't do 720p. I would do the C920. It's a classic webcam. Anchor. That's a name. I don't think I would use that one. Owl Bar. $1,500. No. eMeet. $17. No. C922X Pro. This is the same as the C920. Just get that one. It's better. It's cheaper and does the same thing. Nexigo. Yeah. I would just get the Logitech C920. Logitech Brio is what I would get if this was the 4K Brio. There's a Logitech Brio that shoots in 4K. StreamCam. I would just get the C920. You don't need, this is not better. Yeah, just get the C920. Go with the classic that always works. I'm using a Razer right now. I actually don't recommend it, so I would just go with the Logitech C920. That's it. That's all the gear I can think of that people might want to use. We did monitors, headphones, cameras, microphones, guitars, kind of. There's not really any cool guitars on sale. Sometimes you can go to Musician's Friend and find like sales that are occurring at the same time and get something that way. But anyway, I just thought it would be fun to look at this. And mechanical keyboards. I can't think of too much other stuff that you might want. I might get that pedal board. That might be something I'll get. I've been wanting something a little more solid than my like homemade solutions. But I'll think about it. It may not be responsible for me to spend money on that. Anyway, that's it, guys. I realized that all the music turned off. Let's crank the music back up. Let me link everything. Patreon. On Patreon, I will have a list of all gear that I use. So I will do that for you guys. If people want to know everything that I use, every interface, I went over it here, but like every interface, MIDI controller, guitar pickups. If you want to know that stuff, I'll have a super comprehensive list of the stuff I use just to stream, including maybe even light fixtures. This light is from IKEA. And this is from Amazon. It's a ring light. They're cheap. You can get them for cheap. I'm going to type in ring light. Maybe there's one. You'll find the one that I purchased here. Let's go. Big deals. I have a little clamp on one. Right here. It's really good. It was like $10. People are spending too much money on this. Get a cheap one. It's just a LED light. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Anyway. I'll have a list of everything on Patreon if people want that. And Substack. All my Substack subscribers, of course, still get, just like the Patreon, you get copies of all the live rights. I'll have a post of like everything that I use on there too. So I think that's about it for today. It's fun talking gear with people. I always like to think about equipment, what equipment people use, what they like. If this was a boring stream, I'm sorry, I've never done this before, so I just like to talk about this kind of thing. I know there's probably channels who do this like a lot more, like the Know Your Gear podcast. It's probably a good one to look at. It talks more about gear. It has a lot more gear to look at because I just have the stuff that I use, the stuff that I like to use. Cables. I use Planet Wave cables. Planet Waves cables, and that's what I use. All right. I think that's about it, folks. I'll see you all next time. Have a great rest of your day and evening. Hopefully everybody in Florida will be okay. Have a great one. We'll see you next time.